in terms of provision of services is that they truly empower the people politically as well. Otherwise, there are those who say, oh, Bhutan is a democracy now, everybody is equally empowered, which is not true. Political empowerment does not actually result from having the right to vote alone.
True.
That right to vote has to be supported, complemented and supplemented by economic and social capacity.
Okay.
And so this minimum program is aimed at ensuring that every individual is also equitably empowered in a political sense.
Okay, so to summarize what you've said, Linchin, you've said that Bhutan is aiming towards and arriving at, to a large extent, slowly but surely, substantive democracy, whereby the people are given a level playing field, but they're not leveled down.
That's right, that's right, that's right.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Okay, so let's play devil's advocate, right? So Keynes said, John Maynard Keynes, said that in the long run, we're all dead. How can we harvest our natural capital in such a way that it is fair for the present generation too?
Yes, certainly playing the devil's advocate because what is fashionable is to speak of equity, intergenerational equity, saving for the future. But I think the present is equally important. And here in Bhutan, what we want to do is to ensure that certainly there is intergenerational equity. And one way that we aim to achieve this is by ensuring that whatever we do is through a sustainable approach with an eye on the future. At the same time, to the extent possible, we will limit our extraction of natural resources and rather go into the development of an economy that is sustainable and that depends minimally on natural resources. So we are looking at promoting Bhutan as an IT-enabled world-class service hub. Tourism, eco-friendly tourism, Bhutan as a world-class educational hub, Bhutan as a world-class health destination, services destination, and Bhutan as an investment hub for ICT industry in terms of research and development, in terms of data processing and high-end BPOs. Also, promotion of Bhutan as an organic brand, where in a few years from now, everything originating in Bhutan, every agricultural produce will be recognized as being organic.
Well, that is brilliant. That's extremely pioneering of the entire country and your government.
And we are that, the reason why we are doing this and we are very confident about this is because Bhutan, like no other country, is so ideally located in a geo-economic sense.
True, true. Okay, so giving of oneself, like you stressed at the Conference for Happiness and Economic Development, is integral to happiness, the spirit of voluntarism, right? So what percentage of Bhutan's GDP is aid?
I cannot give you the precise percentage, but let me say much of Bhutan's investment needs for capital development comes in the form of development assistance. We generate presently enough resources to meet our recurring costs.
Okay.
But by the year 2020, our programs and our development are organized in such a way that we will no longer be dependent on overseas development assistance.
Okay, that's brilliant. And does Bhutan give aid as well?
Presently, no, we cannot afford to. But after 2020, we should be self-sufficient, and then maybe 10 years thereafter, we could aspire to become a member of the OECD.
Great. And also, Your Excellency, just to add to that, because I know, and you know, that even though Bhutan isn't exactly the wealthiest nation in terms of money and fiat currency, that the people here have a very generous spirit. So not only are they hospitable, but they're also very aware of the world, like Japan. There was a little aid, like I think civil society in itself, and like the private individual is so giving in Bhutan, that they gave to Japan, even though they aren't as wealthy a country, right?
Yes, you're right. You're right. Well, officially, in an official way, Bhutan, as I said, will not and is not an ODA giving country, because we don't have the capacity. We are a recipient country. But at the same time, when situations are such in certain countries, in the aftermath of disasters and so on, we have tried to share our limited resources. So you're right. We have given in a small way to the Japanese, to the Pakistan, to Pakistan the year before last year, to India, to Bangladesh,
and there were
and so
as
on.
well
Yes,
for China,
yes.
right?
And we give in various ways, money as well as in terms of the spirit, more importantly.
Thank you, Linchin. Also, so how does development with the object of happiness differ from positivistic scientific development, so-called? Is it just development in another packaging?
No, it is very different from the conventional development process. The conventional development is all about pursuing higher and unlimited GDP growth. It is about endless economic growth in a world that is finite, which is not possible. Hence the kind of calamities that we are facing. G&H, on the other hand, is a paradigm that, as I said earlier, that is based on a holistic development, sustainable development.
Okay, brilliant. So, how does G&H demonstrate the benefits of integrating social benefits like cohesion, good governance, natural assets, and economic services into national accounts, and thereby make sustainability more than an ideal and maybe into a practical reality?
That is something that we are now working on. And the indicators, for instance, for G&H were developed by the Center for Bhutan Studies as commissioned by the government. And likewise now, and those indicators are now being used, as you know. And likewise now we are developing a full cost accounting system.
Wow.
Which will ensure the inclusion of, among others, the contributions to the economy made by the environment and so on. And this is being done presently by the National Statistical Bureau in collaboration with the University of, it's an American university.
Columbia, Harvard?
No, none of the Ivy Leagues. Well, I'll give you the name of the university. And GPI Atlantic, Genuine Progress Index Center in Canada.
Oh, so will you share that with the rest of the world?
Oh yes, we will, as we have with the indicators.
Okay, so, right. Do isolationist measures, as a precursor to an opening up to the world economy, make the country reasonably self-sufficient and provide better terms of trade? What has Bhutan's experience been?
I'm sorry, I was just thinking about the university. The first part of the question.
Do isolationist measures, as a precursor to opening up to the world economy, make a country reasonably self-sufficient and provide better terms of trade when they do eventually open up?
I don't think that really has any relevance to the way in which Bhutan has grown and developed. It would be an interesting study, such a study.
India did it as well, like import substitution before opening up. So. Okay, so is a country happier for not going down the route of developing all three sectors of the economy? Because Linchin, what you said seemed to be that there was a primary basis, and Bhutan's very, very, it depends on the primary sector of the economy, agriculture, but your growth plans seem to be service-based. So is a country happier for that? Is there not a little bit of hubris in a way because there isn't a manufacturing base? Can it work in your personal experience?
I hope so. That is what we have chosen to do, and that is what I think is a compulsion given the circumstances that we have reached.
Okay, so we shall see then. Okay, so what steps is Bhutan taking to encourage more independent thinking rather than rote learning in education?
Well, rote learning in education was something that was under considerable debate as early as the mid-1980s. We talked about, at that time the debate was on rote learning versus learning through discovery, you know, critical thinking and so on. And at the moment, I would say that our education system is one where the pedagogy and the learning process is balanced between rote learning and the more recent approaches.
Okay, so
yes.
So in a way, that's a good balance in a way,
Yes.
because even if you look at how monks learn scriptures, they learn a lot in order to be able to recount from an oral tradition.
What I wanted to say, in fact, what I was reflecting on was that during the debate, one of the things that we came to agree was that one, it is important to develop critical thinking, analysis, learning by discovery, and so on. The rote learning cannot be dismissed entirely.
Sure.
Because it has tremendous value. Among others, rote learning is the process and the basis for the development of your memory.
Yes.
And memory is so very
Vital.
important and vital. Yes. As a matter of fact, I remember myself using the example of how, for instance, in some of the Western universities, Chinese students excel.
Yes.
Among other reasons because of their power of memory, which is developed through the memorization of the Chinese characters.
Yes.
So they develop this photographic memory. And if you have that, then you can store and you can retrieve.
Oh. Okay. So employment is an issue in the country. I'm told that there are two reasons: overqualification and high graduate employment, and secondly, the lack of perceived dignity of labour. What is Bhutan doing to address these causes of unhappiness?
Yes, at the moment it is not really a major cause of unhappiness because the number in absolute terms, although proportionately it is significant, in absolute terms it is still very, very small. But we do worry about this, and let me say that whatever may be said about the problem of unemployment, the reality is that the job seekers still have the advantage of choosing. They are still, whether it's a graduate, a university student, or whether it is a person coming out of schools and these vocational institutions, they are still very choosy. So they have this choice. And in many cases, we are still rooted in our farms. And so we have the luxury of being able to wait. Well, I'll pass this job. This is not really what interests me, and so on. But the issues that you raise are things that we are mindful of, and we are working on these.
Okay, brilliant, Linchin. The second pillar of GNH, conservation of the environment. So a big part of cross-national happiness is interconnectedness and living with nature. How is this way of life preserved and incentivized by the government in the face of unprecedented urban-rural migration? Are budgets devolved in such a way that have led to the balanced regional growth instead of an axiom of urban explosion?
Well, the share of the national resources is certainly greater for the rural sector. Among other reasons, because as I said earlier, the infrastructure in Bhutan is still at a very rudimentary stage, and so the rural area, areas need to be accessed, and requiring the devotion of vast resources. But at the same time, we are mindful of the fact that because of the rural-urban migration, the cities also now need to be considered as deserving equal consideration and importance in terms of resource allocation. However, the endeavor on the part of the government to halt rural-urban migration is a very major one. We are very mindful of this, and we are trying to take to the rural areas all kinds of privileges and all kinds of services to ensure that life in the rural areas is not any more difficult than in the urban areas. So in terms of basic services, I've already told you, and then also in terms of employment and farm supplementation activities, new crops, cash crops are being introduced, and jobs of various kinds, including in the tourism sector, are being now taken to the rural areas. Among other reasons, we feel that that the chances of finding happiness, mindfully pursuing and finding happiness in the rural setting, are far greater than in an urban setting. One, among others, you are in a rural setting. The interdependence is a reality.
Yes.
And interdependence keeps and makes the community vital. It keeps the community alive. Family, the institution of family is also stronger. The integrity of the family is stronger. The communication and interaction within the